Good morning, Reed here, back at Orchestra Farm for my morning walkabout. And I'll say thanks for joining me today. Thanks for hitting the like buttons and the subscribe buttons and for commenting on the videos. All that really helps me out a bunch. And today, I am thinking about this notion of our interests, our concerns, our influence, and our control. Now, you could almost say that those are each different circles and moving from larger to smaller. And, we all have these things depending on who we are. We have different ones in different areas. And when it comes down to circle of control, though, we have kind of a similar amount or even aspects of that. But it can be the kind of thing where that circle of concern can overshadow either our circle of influence or a circle of control. And I'm preparing to be gardening here this year and doing some more gardening at my residence where I live, and I'm preparing different bed spaces, although that's come to a bit of a halt as we're about to get some snow. Snow, it's a bit of a concern. It's certainly an interest. I have no influence or control over it. And so other than preparing a little bit to make sure that other things that I have a modicum of control over, such as the pipes that I have to wrap in heat tape, and make sure I'm in an insulated space, don't freeze. My ability to control that is pretty weak. This stick here is about to break. That's exciting. Anyway, with that, I'm noticing in my own life this piece around how do I focus my influence along with my control. So I was bringing my 4-year-old up to bed last night. She had fallen asleep on the couch, and I had this quite large twinge. Whoa, what the heck? There's a downed tree over there. Let's see, can you see that? I'm like, did that wind fall over? Can you see that? There's 3 alder trees, and then there's a big down tree over there in front of them. Wowzers. Anyway, certainly an interest, not a concern. And I was like, gosh, I really need to take even better care of myself and upgrade my body care with all this in mind. And in the notion of these influences and controls, a recognition with the soil that I spoke about building a moment ago. I've been pretty interested in indigenous microorganisms, or IMOs as they're often referred to, and the building of the soil food web, the creating of aliveness in that space that helps all the plants and everything else live, which includes us. And the notion that with a bunch of mindfulness and putting in the proper practices, I can actually influence that in a huge way. Maybe it burgeons on this idea of control, but certainly the influence piece. And this notion that, when we're observant of our ecosystems, and that includes our bodies, and we really take note and we open ourselves to all the different possibilities and potentials that are out there, there's a whole lot that we can actually do. Now, conversely, if I get all concerned about what the chemical agriculture world is doing out there, and I'm just consuming lots of information about that, that's really focused on that concern vector. And there's, sure, it's good to know about that happening because, maybe I want to add in some bioaccumulator type plant life or some extra biochar to the soil to help kind of lock in those different potentials in the environmental potentials. Or it might not even be like, that kind of stuff. It might just be all the different fires happening of late and the crazy chemicals that are getting put up into the atmosphere to rain down. Who knows how far around the planet that stuff is going to go. Again, that's like a concern, but the question is, what's my influence or control? And whenever I think of these different issues that are happening in the world, coming back to the concept of like, where's my influence? Where's my control? What am I really focusing on? Becomes of predominant importance. It's the difference between making a good move in life or just stressing out so much that I die. Because let's be honest, stress is a huge major killer. And again, maybe I'm not dying today. Maybe it's 5, 10 plus years from now. But anything under the 500 mark, and yes, I'm an unreasonable person, is, a diminished life capacity. So, and you might ask, Reed, why do you think or want to live for 500 years? Well, if you're familiar with the 7 generations thinking, I would get to be present for that. And, minus some trees out there, not many other beings are living that long. And I just think it'd be so amazing to witness all the growth and change happening in that space. And to learn how to celebrate in different ways with all those different future generations. Let's see, put the stick in a different way. Oops, yeah, that totally broke there. And with that, there's different aspects of control and influence that I need to be doing in my life to help make that closer to a reality. Now, I'm curious, are there concerns in your life that you find to overpower you and bring you out of your spheres of control and influence? And that could be like the kind of thing of feeling the need to talk to different people about your concerns. So spreading your influence or trying to influence in a way that's more concern based. Now I bring this up because I mentioned this notion of like your circle of interest earlier. And I brought that up specifically because there's a difference between having an interest and a concern. And it's a slight variation. And they could be kind of tied together. But the notion of when someone's interested in something and they're expressing it from that place of excitement, like for me, I feel like, my music or my painting or my writing or my care of the earth and the intrigue of all these different microorganisms and microbiome niches that take place both in our physical human body and in our greater earth body, like I'm super interested in that. And I think the excitement that I have for that and my interest of it actually plays into other people becoming potentially interested in it, i.e. influenced. Whereas when people start talking about their concerns, I personally start to tune out a bit. Unless it's something I'm like, oh, I haven't heard that before. Maybe I should look into it a little bit. So, I want to encourage you that if you're out there and you're thinking about this, and you're noticing that like, oh yeah, I tend to be wrapped up in my concerns. There's a lot of people expressing a lot of concerns right now. And, I think that there's positive ways that we can move through those spaces to have greater impact in our own lives and in the lives of those around us. And that's what I want to encourage us all to be doing this year, is having that greater impact in our own life and the life of those around us. And when I say around us, hey, if you have like a big internet presence or whatever, and your audience is huge, your influence is huge, well, may you be all the more empowered to provide positive movables for people to be acting upon. With that, I want to say thanks again for watching. Thanks for subscribing to the channel here. I've got some updates I'm looking forward to bringing in the near future. And with that, I want to say, have too much fun.